Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic Friday, wherever you are around the world. Hopefully, everyone is all good and all well. And welcome back to yet another match preview show for you guys this evening. Of course, it is the biggest one: Liverpool against Manchester City, in what has been, of course, a fixture that has been determined. Who's going to win the Premier League title. And of course, is this year the same sort of occasion? Yes, in many ways, of course. Obviously, Liverpool currently 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. Of course, we'll talk all about injury news, of course, get your guys' thoughts on, of course, Liverpool against Manchester City as well. Again, I'm very much looking forward to it. I know you guys are as well. So, again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below as well. Of course, we're going to talk about Liverpool City because, again, it is currently the biggest game. Again, two teams playing against each other. Obviously, normally it was Pep against Jurgen, but now it is Pep, of course, against Arne Slot, which again, I'll be very, very intrigued to see on Sunday as well. But of course, we're going to talk about the game. We're, of course, going to talk about Ibu's injury. Of course, it's confirmed he's out for 5 to 6 weeks. Could be more, could be less. We're not too sure yet. There isn't really any full confirmation in terms of how long he is out injured. But again, the sad news is he is going to be out for a little while, which is a shame considering the start of the season he has had for Liverpool as well. We're also going to talk about City. Obviously, we're talking much they're in a mess at the present moment in time. Of course, 6 games now without a win, which is the worst they've done, I think, since 2008, I think it is. Which, yeah, just goes to show, like, how bad they have been. To be fair, they are still second in the Premier League table, but considering where Manchester City are normally at this stage of the season, you would think that Pep needs to sort things out. Of course, anyway, obviously we'll get you start 11 predictions as well in the comments anyway. But just talking, of course, about this game, to begin with. Of course, it is such a huge, huge game for both teams, really. I think, the pressure, I think, is more on Manchester City, of course, and Pep Guardiola to, of course, change things around, present moment in time. You look at, like I just said, 6 games without a win now for City. If they go 7 games without a win, that would be, unheard of again, when it comes to Manchester City and this Pep Guardiola side. And you look at, what has happened to their season in particular, very similar to, I think, the last time they had something like this in terms of, the 1920 season when, of course, they put a lot of their faith in Emerick Laporte, of course, getting them over the line in terms of fitness, and of course, then having to take Fernandinho out of that team, where he was well established as the DM. Of course, I think even Rodri was there at that time, but considering how reliable I think Fernandinho was at that time, I don't think, they could easily go out and take him out. But I do think he very much has the same sort of situation where at the moment, I think for me, Pep has no idea how to deal with this. I think midweek was a perfect example for that. Of course, 3-0 up against Feyenoord. I think everybody thinks that, you're going to cruise to victory. Of course, takes a few players off. I think he took Gundogan off and put Matthias Nunes into the midfield, and it completely fell apart. There was no control. Feyenoord, fair play to them. They definitely come back into the game as well, and deserved. They deserved the draw towards the end of the game as well. I don't think many City fans would have said that in the 75th minute neither. And I think when we talk about, Pep Guardiola being in trouble, I'm not saying, of course, is he going to lose his job? Because, of course, he's not. He's been one of the most successful managers in football, let alone, the successful manager in football. Of course, he's going to turn around and obviously change things. Of course, when City have Rodri back, or, they can go out and sign whoever they want to in the summer, or in January, I should say. Of course, things are going to be sorted out ASAP for them. It's whether or not Liverpool are going to be miles gone before then, or, another team, because you even look at the league table now, for example, again, like we said, Liverpool could be 11 points clear of Manchester City by the end of this weekend. But even looking at it now, Brighton are over, as results currently stand at the present moment in time, Brighton are currently second in the Premier League table. And that's weird me saying that, but yet even they take over Manchester City. Chelsea, if they win, they overtake them. Arsenal, of course, Spurs can't do that as of yet, but even still, the fact that if Spurs win and City lose, they are a point behind Manchester City after 13 games. That would be weird to say, nevertheless, of course, but again, does he change it around? I do think he does. I think he does. I'd be surprised if he didn't do that. I'm surprised if he went maybe even after next season. And again, it's a kind of the repeat of it. Of course, we don't know how Rodri's going to come back. You think he's going to come back similar to how Virgil van Dijk, come back and of course at an elite level again. But you never know with an ACL injury or a knee injury in particular. Don't know how it affects that player. And again, obviously City have got the money to, of course, fix things up in January, but or even in the summer. But I think this season, I think it's damaged. Their best bet is to win the Champions League. I think this season, if they're going to go out and win anything. But whether or not they do that, it's another question. Anyway, but again, let me know all of you are in the comments as well, of course. Hawklord is in as well, big up, hopefully doing well. Saying, of course they can. Will they? Who knows? Unless you have a crystal ball. Well, hopefully Liverpool go 11 points clear by the end of the weekend. Because I think, look, and I'll say it, right here, right now, I think if Liverpool do beat Manchester City, I think Liverpool have a very, very, very good chance of winning the Premier League title. Again, it's not 100% guaranteed because, of course, nothing is in football. But I just think if Liverpool beat Man City, that gap of 11 points, it's uncatchable. And of course, me saying Liverpool are not going to go and win the league, of course, that's being very conservative of the situation Liverpool are in. The fact that we are, after 13 games, 11 points clear of everybody else. Again, that goes to show the fact that Liverpool have been so good this season. That look, this game against City, I'm very much looking forward to. Again, the Madrid game, I think the feeling after that, I think everybody was ecstatic in terms of, again, the overall feeling of it. I think with the game against City, that atmosphere will be immense on Sunday. I think everybody's meeting, of course, for the bus arrivings as well. That's going to be one hell of an atmosphere in that sense as well. And again, it feels like what it did 5 years ago. When Liverpool, or 5 seasons ago, when Liverpool went on to win the Premier League title. In terms of, again, we were in the very similar type of position. I think I read earlier on that Man City, the last time Manchester City lost to a top of the table side was Liverpool back in 1920, and of course they've faced teams, since then that have been top of the league at the time. And they've either beat them or they've drew against them. But the last team to beat Manchester City while top of the Premier League is Liverpool. And Liverpool that season went on to win everything. And that's the same type of feeling I think I think you guys have as well. And I think, again, if Liverpool go on to be 11 points clear, again, it's uncatchable, and look, is again too much forward, of course, because again we haven't been through the tricky December period, January time. Of course, look, Liverpool could be like City, they could go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, but is it likely? With the way Liverpool's squad is at the moment, barring injuries or any more injuries, of course you'd expect no. But for me, I think Liverpool will push on. I think the City win, if we beat City, I think it'll push us on even more. Similar how I think the Madrid win was a massive bonus for Sunday. I think if Liverpool had lost against Madrid, even though we've had a really, really good start to the season, it then puts it down on it of like, oh, because City, after losing so many games, they're going to want to bounce back, for example, as well. But in my opinion, I think there is one way to beat Manchester City on Sunday, and that is simply give them the ball. Give them the ball, soak up a bit of pressure, similar to how we did kind of in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes in that Real Madrid game, and hit them on the counter-attack. I think even Pep's turned around and said, look, I don't want my team to have any corners because the counter-attacking threat of Liverpool is so great. And of course, having having the players back in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, on the ball, who can, do something against City, that will be huge. I think in many ways, of course, obviously, it's a shame that the fact that Ibu Konate and, of course, Conor Bradley are both out injured after the Madrid game, but having a Trent Alexander-Arnold available is huge. Obviously, Alisson Becker is also there and available, we think, anyway, of course, but I think that's another debate in itself. Do you bring in an Alisson because of how good Joaquin Keller has been? He's been so good for Liverpool that you go, is there any need to rush Alisson back? And no, it's we all know the number one is Alisson. We do. He is the best goalkeeper in the world, but I would much rather Alisson have a full, not so much rest, but have the full all clear to go again instead of being rushed back and how we've seen in other years where Alisson will come back too early and get re-injured in a couple of games time. I don't want Alisson to come back against City and then he's gone then again for another, after a 2-3 month period, he's gone then for another 3 or 4 games. Like we want Alisson now fit for the entirety of the season, and that I think will be a huge bonus as well. Having him back in this tough period as well. But big up Damo as well, saying in previous seasons, City have been so used to a lot of teams thinking they're going to beat before a ball was even kicked. That's not the case now. Teams are sensing City's weaknesses. Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think for me, City's big weakness is the transition. I think they got beat by Spurs in that aspect of things. When you watch that James Maddison goal, it was very smart from Spurs of what they did. They overloaded the midfield. Of course, it was either a winger was cutting inside or, Pedro Porro was coming into the middle and, of course, creating that extra body that, again, the centre-backs have to mark. James Maddison makes a run, brilliant ball. I think it was Kulusevski, I think it was. And, yeah, he's completely free. And that's similar to how Liverpool have done goals this season. You look at, I think, was it Bayer Leverkusen? I think no, it wasn't Bayer Leverkusen, sorry, it was the goal that Alexis McAllister scored, I think against the Bologna, I think it was, where we overloaded the midfield and Maka makes that run, and that is how we finished that. That's something similar as well, where I see Liverpool, that's the type of game plan we need on Sunday. And I think, look, just let City have the ball. Pep Guardiola has already said, like, he's terrified of Liverpool's counter. Villa, look at Leverkusen, look at Madrid, midweek. Liverpool's counter-attack ability is one of the best in the league. And look, if City do what they did against Feyenoord and what they did against Spurs, it'll be a similar result. And I put anything on that, to be fair. But I think with Pep, of course, he'll get things sorted. Now it's all about Liverpool being miles gone before City can even come back. And that's the thing. When I look at like Arsenal fans, even today, I think there was polls out there that were like, 79 or 80% of Premier League supporters think Liverpool have already won the league. And that's great. Of course, it's great that people already think Liverpool have won the Premier League. But of course, I think everybody that's reasonable already knows that Liverpool, again, have a massive job ahead of themselves. And I think, of course, with Ibu now being injured, with his injury, I think it's a big time now for somebody like a Joe Gomez to step up, of course, because I was just looking now before I came on. Joe Gomez has partnered Virgil van Dijk more times than any other Liverpool centre-back while Virgil van Dijk's been at the football club. And that is surprising, considering, again, how again, how many games you'd think Joel Matip's been alongside Virgil van Dijk, Ibu over the last 3-4 seasons. Of course, playing alongside Virgil van Dijk. But I was surprised by that, to be fair. That I think Joe Gomez is on 150 games alongside Virgil van Dijk. And look, if we can go back to that 1920 season or even the back end of 1819, where Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk were literally conceding about 1 goal per month. Like, if we can go back to that, then I am all for that. And look, it is a big time for Joe Gomez because, of course, he could have left in the summer. Of course, he has spoken about, after, of course, the summer, how much he loves the football club, how much he wants to play for the football club. And I think overall, Joe Gomez is a very solid centre-back, even right-back in that sense. Or I say right-back. He can literally play everywhere, can't he? When we talk about a James Milner regen, we've already got one in terms of Joe Gomez. But it's also that sense of last season was very much a redemption season for Joe Gomez, because I think a lot of us last summer, of course not the summer just gone, the summer before that, I think a lot of us thought that maybe we might have seen the last of Joe Gomez in a Liverpool shirt, and maybe Jurgen might have moved him on because of, again, the performances. Again, I think Real Madrid in that season when it went terribly wrong, you had Joe Gomez playing against Real Madrid, was awful in that game. I think we played Brighton as well, and in the FA Cup was absolutely awful in that as well. And then last season, he was probably Liverpool's most reliable defender, because, again, he could literally play everywhere. And I think at times last season, I think Liverpool played our best football when Joe Gomez was at left back. And I think all of us have said, if Robbo's not performing that great, and of course if Costas is out now, then play Joe Gomez left back. And I would stand by that, because I do think last season Joe Gomez was very much underrated in terms of what he did do and what he produced for this Liverpool team. And I think when we spoke about it as well, even last season, I think all of us said at the time, like, look, if he's performing great, then just give him his chance. Give him his opportunity. And this is another chance for Joe Gomez now, because Ibu, of course, the start of the season, Ibu Konate was, he was on the bench, wasn't he? Joel Konza was the guy for Arne Slot coming out of pre-season. That's after that second half at Ipswich, Ibu never looked back since. Could be the same with Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez might look amazing now over the next 5-6 weeks. And it would give then a conversation for Arne Slot to go, oh, I've got a really good centre-back in Joe Gomez. And, of course, Ibu Konate, I could maybe rotate it in that situation. But, again, we'll have to wait and see for what he does on Sunday, of course. But McAllister's starting to look really influential in games, back to the levels of last season, hopefully, when everything revolves around him in the midfield. He pulled all the strings in the game. I think the midfield's huge again, though, Damo. I think, when we talk about, who starts in the midfield, and of course, Gay is starting their predictions in the comments for everyone watching, but I think you pretty much keep the same team as Madrid. I don't think you very much change from that, apart from, of course, the injuries that you have to put up with. I think, if this is my starting 11 prediction right now, I think for me, again, you keep the same midfields. I think Gravenberch, McAllister, Curtis Jones, that midfield is well balanced and works well with each other. I think Curtis Jones, more advanced, I think it is better. Of course, obviously, against Real Madrid, of course, we played with 2 8s instead of, a double pivot, for example, because we kind of played like a 4. What was it, like a 4-1 4-1 in that sense, or basically a 4-5-1 in many other terms. But I think overall that midfield this season has shown that it's got capabilities of, again, of a well balanced midfield. And again, of course, you can add the likes of Szoboszlai, you can add the likes of Harvey Elliott. Again, Endo, if you need to shout out the game, because again, we talk about this midfield being the way it's been so far this season. You look at the game against City last year at Anfield, or last season, I should say, at Anfield. Wataru Endo was the best midfielder in the game, on City and Liverpool side. So again, if you need Wataru Endo to be the guy to, again, come on, make sure and secure your points like he did against Madrid on Wednesday, then look, Wataru Endo is your guy in that sense as well. But I think, of course, we'll see a lot more rotation now after the City game because, again, we've got I think we got Newcastle on Wednesday, haven't we? Then we've got Everton. I think then it's a Champions League game, and then I think we play Fulham as well. So again, the games are going to be coming up thick and fast now as well. So hopefully, no more injuries. Touch woods. Fingers crossed, as I slam a desk. But I think as I've got there in terms of starting that prediction. I think Trent comes back in. I'd keep Kelleher in goal. For me, I think Alisson, even though I do think Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world, I wouldn't risk it personally myself. But yeah, I'd go Kelleher, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robbo, Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Salah, Nunez, Diaz. That would be my team to play Manchester City, of course, with all, of course, the added bonuses of maybe we might even have a Federico Chiesa coming back as well. That would be huge if he's on the bench for Sunday as well, but of course unlikely. But of course having a Gakpo, I think Jota coming back maybe after the City game as well, that would be huge going forward as well. But what a game for Nunez to expand explore into the season against City's backline. Couldn't time be better to smash in a goal or two? It would be. To be fair, Darwin's. I think if you look at Darwin's performance against Madrid, I think I can't remember who put it up. But I think Darwin Núñez made more attacking and defensive runs than the whole of Madrid's midfield and attack. I think it was something like that. So again, his work rate goes very much underrated. When we talk about players, in terms of you look at Szoboszlai, you look at Darwin Núñez, I think Darwin Núñez is very much underrated for what he does do in a Liverpool shirt. Look, the goals and the assists, it could be worked upon, of course. Certainly more the goals because, we expect Darwin Núñez to be banging in a lot more goals than what he is currently doing. But I think at the present moment in time, the work rate that he is doing on and off the ball, I think does go very much underrated. And of course, he allows players into the game. We saw against Madrid, the fact that again he brought Luis Diaz into the game, he brought the midfield as well when McAllister was making a run. Even Curtis Jones, Mo Salah as well, that link-up play there. Because again, I think people very much underrate how you look at that partnership between Darwin Núñez and Mohamed Salah, like them two have, I think, more goal contributions together than what Daniel Sturridge and Luis Suarez had. Now, we consider that partnership as one of the best, ever, but in terms of, what they achieved at Liverpool. But, Mo Salah and Darwin Núñez, they do bag in goals and assists together as well, which, look, if they can do that against City, I'd be more than happy for that anyway. But evening all, what were the injury updates? So if it's been covered, it did get covered, Hero, but I will go over it again for you anyway. Of course, the news, sadly, is Ibu is out for 5 to 6 weeks. Conor Bradley, we don't know yet. Of course, it is suspected is going to be a month out injured. But I think Ibu, was it Dave O'Cobb confirmed that Ibu is about 5 to 6 weeks. Again, it could be a bit earlier, it could be more, but at the present moment in time, Ibu is out injured and will miss the whole of December and of course a bit into 2024. I think if you look at the games that he does miss, and I'll quickly read them out now. Of course, he misses Man City, Newcastle, Everton, Girona, Fulham, Southampton, Spurs, Leicester, West Ham. I think he will miss Manchester United at home on the 2nd of January. Or the 5th of January, sorry. And then Forest on the 14th of January. I think he'll be back for that game. So, again, how many games is that? So he'll miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 potentially. So he misses 9 to 10 games for Liverpool through the injury. So not great in that sense, of course. It is a shame he is out injured. But look, like I said at the start, it's a huge opportunity for Joe Gomez, and I do believe that. I think it's one hell of a chance for Joe Gomez to be, again in Arne Slot's plans in that sense as well. Anyway, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts as well, because I think it is a bit of a shame considering again the start that he did have to the season. Excuse me. Can see Kyle Walker needing help against the pace of Nunes or Diaz. Could free up space for our attack. Yeah, I think City are going to get absolutely battered. Look, it's going to be a tough game, and I think one thing I hope for as well is that Liverpool don't play the occasion, and we play, the team that's in front of us, like we've seen over the years, where I think you look at City, Liverpool. It's been one of these games that is highly regarded in terms of, you look at a Premier League fixture list and you go, okay, everybody is watching Liverpool City. No matter if you're a United fan, an Arsenal fan, a Newcastle fan, a bloody Southampton fan, everyone is watching Liverpool City because they know the quality of game is up there. And that's what I'm hoping for. Like we don't go and do is the fact that we play the occasion and we play the team, because on current form, I think the current two teams, I think Liverpool wiped the floor with Manchester City, and I do believe that. And I also think that Arne Slot has an idea already of what he wants to do against City, and I think Pep, in my opinion, doesn't know yet what to do, whether or not to sit back and allow Liverpool to have the ball, or whether or not to just go, okay, we're going to go and play the Man City way and just hope we don't get countered, which isn't going to happen, if I'm being perfectly honest. Anyway, but that striker did him, you reckon, apart from the Kane type tackle, do you think the players purposefully leave a bit on the players? Possibly, look, I know Endrick, I was saying to Ricky earlier on, for me, like I hate Endrick now forever for injuring Ibu Konate, but it's also the sense of where they're trying to win the ball. Liverpool are beating Madrid. I think Endrick again has also got that type of that Brazilian dirtiness in him in terms of one of these players, when you watch the highlights in the Brazilian league, again, he likes a scrap, and I think again, Liverpool beating Madrid in the way Madrid are at the moment, I think, of course, he tried to get something on it. Of course, did he mean to injure Ibu Konate? Again, only Endrick can answer that, but I don't think he did. But I think overall, I think, look, Endrick didn't mean it. And I think it is a shame the fact that, of course, Ibu is out injured. But again, we've been lucky and fortunate so far that he hasn't been injured. And of course, if it is only 5 weeks, I think we'll be fine. Myself anyway. But Cam says Diaz has to start against Walker. I would agree. I would 100% agree. I think Kyle Walker, I would not be surprised though, and I'm just going to quickly check the injury list. Is he injured? No, he's not injured. So I do think Rico Lewis will play right back against Luis Diaz. I don't think they're going to play in DM. I do think Kyle Walker won't be used against Luis Diaz. I think they're going to try and I wouldn't be surprised if they tried 4-2-3-1 and tried to just double up on the winners. Double up on Mo, try and double up on Lucho as well. That could be an option for what they do. I think, to be fair though, and one thing, talking about Pep and his ideas in terms of what he's trying to do and trying to beat Liverpool, I think there's a reason why Kevin De Bruyne has been kept back a little bit in City games. I think City fans, from what I've watched anyway and what I've gathered, they've been a bit confused on why Kevin De Bruyne's not been more available to them. In terms of, again, he's only come on for half an hour cameos, and again in periods, I think even midweek as well, I don't think he really applied himself right in terms of, again, the performance against Feyenoord But I think Pep Guardiola, looking at it, I think he's kept Kevin De Bruyne for this game. I think he's tried to, slowly try and get him, involved in games. And I think this is the type of game where he's going to look at it and go, well, if I got to sacrifice Kevin De Bruyne for this game, I think he would do it. And I think that's what he is going to do. I'd be surprised if Kevin De Bruyne didn't start against us on Sunday. I'd be really surprised by that, to be fair. But I simmed the game on FIFA, Liverpool versus City. It ended 5-1 Liverpool, so I guess FIFA could be right. Could be right after all. If you did it on FM, Callum, as well, that would have been perfect as well. But Kevin De Bruyne looks a shadow of himself right now. Yeah, he does. And that's unfortunate because I think Kevin De Bruyne's one of the best Premier League midfielders we've ever seen. I think. How old is Kevin De Bruyne? 33, is he, chat? I think I'll quickly double check that now as well for me saying that. But I think overall, you look at what he's done for City, and the amount of things he's done and had to be relied upon. Yeah, he's 33. He turns 34, I think, in June, I think. But he has been so relied upon for City. The fact he's only played 6 games in the Premier League, got 1 goal, 1 assist so far, I think just goes to show that I think this will be his last year for City. I also do think that City need a rebuild. Similar to how we had one, last season and obviously throughout the summer. I think Man City are going to need a rebuild. I think when you do look at their squad, Bernardo Silva's getting a year older. Rodri could potentially be going to Real Madrid next summer. So again, when we talk about them needing a 6, do they go out and get a Zubimendi? I think Adam Wharton's also been mentioned in terms of, what they can go out and get. But I do think they will have to sign 2 or 3 top quality signings over the next 12 months, for example, to keep going again. Because, if Pep Guardiola wasn't staying, then I think it's understandable the fact that, again, you look at De Bruyne not signing a new contract or, not being offered a new contract. And when you do look at that side of things, you'd understand it. But, Pep Guardiola's staying now. So you would have to ask yourself, does Pep Guardiola keep a 33, 34-year-old Kevin De Bruyne? I'm not too sure, But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Wake Me at City transition for me. That would be the main one, Raza, as well. But the thing is, Kevin De Bruyne isn't the De Bruyne of old. I'm not scared of him anymore. If I'm rightly honest, I'm not scared of Kevin De Bruyne, but again, he can just flip her in a switch, can't he? Which is really good going. But right at the heart of them, fast football, yeah, 100%. I would agree with everyone on that anyway. But score predictions anyway. Let me know your score predictions in the comments. For me, I'm gonna go. Where am I gonna go? I'm gonna go 3-0 Liverpool. You know what? Bugger it. The only way they score is through Erling Haaland. And we haven't even really spoken about Phil Foden either. I think he's been a massive fraud this season. When City, and when we talk about the Salah debate, and I know Salah and Foden are completely different players, and I'm not comparing them at all, but the only thing I will compare them on is, you look at Salah. Salah have dragged Liverpool through tough times in seasons. City are currently struggling. Haaland's not really getting an opportunity to score, or when he does, of course, the other teams go out and score more. Foden's not carrying this City team as much as what like a De Bruyne has done over the years. And considering where Phil Foden was at the end of last season, you would think look, he's going to go and he's going to drag City through this tough period. He's going to go and of course make sure they get out of this rut. But if Liverpool beat if Liverpool do go on to beat City, it's huge. It is gigantic for the Premier League because, again, I will say it once again, Liverpool would be, again, I think it's 80% Liverpool going to win the Premier League. And again, it's way too early for me to say this, but 11 points, it's huge. It would never ever be caught up. It's never been caught up. And the fact then we've played City, we've beat City. And the last time we did that, of course, I know we beat them in the 22-23 season, but the only time in a title race that we have beaten them was in 1920, and it feels exactly the same. Liverpool, I think at the time, were 6 points clear. At that November in 2019, we'd be 1st of December. If we beat them, we're 11 points clear of City. That's huge. That is huge. But yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0 Liverpool. I think we beat them. I think we battered them really. I really do. But Cal says Liverpool 4, Man City 1. Salah hat-trick and Diaz and a Foden for City. Says Cal. Have Ricky and Luke fully gone now? Used to love Ricky's awful predictions. I don't think they're fully gone. Again, they might be watching this. I know Ricky watches anyway, so Rick, put sunglasses emojis in the chat. No, I don't think they're fully gone. I think, look, of course, work and normal life, of course, does catch up as well. But I think they'll make an appearance on the channel of Liverpool going to win the league anyway. So again, keep an eye out for that anyway. But again, Ricky's retired, if you want to believe him anyway. But I think they'll be back. But the City squad building has been so poor last couple of years. Doku all style over substance. Grealish more miss than a hit. Missing Riyad Mahrez, who always come up with a goal. Rest of the squad aging fast as well. Yeah, 100% agree, Damo, with you on that. I think they've also very much relied on, is it Safinho? Is that his name? The right winger. I think him coming in, I don't think Pep really wanted to use him as quick as what he's done, but he's pretty much been, I think, the main starter for City on the right. So, again, who knows in that aspect of things. But I think overall, I don't think Pep's happy in terms of, and I think City fans have also mentioned it, even though they've won Premier Leagues over the last, 2 seasons, I think, I can't remember what City fans were going on about it, but then they were on about the recruitment for, to better the starting 11 hasn't been there, which eventually that will catch up to you. Look, Liverpool have been amazing this season, but like I say to you, Liverpool need to build in January. We need to sign another defensive midfielder to be a backup to Ryan Gravenberch or to be an equal with Ryan Gravenberch, and the quality isn't going to drop at all. But I think, look, that's something I'm going to talk about more in January. But I think as of things right now, again, Liverpool City, hopefully we can beat them on Sunday anyway. My hand started clicking. But it's sad that City have charges over their head just for those head-to-head runs the fixtures a lot. Look, I look at it and go, if it's proven that they're found not guilty of things, then fine. Even now, I can't accept. The problem is with City, you have to admire what City have done over the last 5+ years, with Pep Guardiola. You have to on the pitch, but it is overshadowed by what City are about and what they're currently getting charged with and this, that, and the other. If it was proved that they are innocent, I think then you've got to go, fair enough, whatever. But if there's 1 or 2 things that they are found guilty on, for me, a whole shadow then is over what they've done, and it is, and I know Pep Guardiola goes, oh, well, if we get relegated, will we go on and, I'll stay at the football club. And it's like, it's funny you saying it, whether or not he does it was another thing. But look, who cares? The only thing we care about is Liverpool. Hopefully go on to beat City and then go on to win the league. Anyway, but scores for Sunday. Well, I said 3-0, didn't I? So I think Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez, and Virgil van Dijk. And that's what I'm going to go with for my goal scorers anyway. But 3-0 Liverpool, I'm going with as well. Let me know your score predictions in the comments down below as well, of course, because I'd be very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts as well on the repeat, because I know there are definitely a few people that will be watching on the repeat as well anyway. But I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Anyway, big thank you for everyone for tuning in. If we can sort things out tomorrow, we are going to get a City fan on tomorrow for an opposition preview, get a City side of things if we can. Of course, a bit up in the air at the moment, but if not, of course, we'll be live for the post-match on Sunday. Hopefully you guys, of course, will be very up for the game, as I think I will be Sunday anyway. But yeah, as Carl says, whether this is the biggest chance to batter them under Pep, I would agree. 100% I would agree. And cheers to Damo as well. Anyway, big thank you to you guys for tuning in as well. And yeah, I would agree. It is. But again, if Liverpool just won 1-0, I would not care in the whole world. The only thing I care about is Liverpool hopefully being 11 points clear by the end of Sunday night anyway. But until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me anyway. I've been Connor from the Cop Council. I see you guys hopefully tomorrow for an opposition preview. But until then, I've been Connor from the Cop Council, like I said, and I'll see you guys then. Ta-ra.